All right, welcome back to the Slice presented by Betway. Round 3 is in the books at Wimbledon, and we are now into round 4, and here is a preview. Djokovic gets into the 4th round through a tough Popyrin today in 4 sets. Ben Shelton is going to be facing Jannik Sinner in the 4th round, and Yulia Putintseva takes out Iga Swiatek in pretty dominant fashion in 3 sets, especially in the last 2. It's been a crazy few days, and Emma Raducanu has continued to get the crowd, England, fired up, and for different reasons this time, including Judy Murray getting into the mix after she's pulled out of the mixed doubles with Andy Murray. Bit of chaos there. The 4th round is going to be great. I can't wait. Let's break it all down here on The Slice. Thanks for being here. All right. How you doing? I was up early, 5 a.m. today to watch Shapovalov versus Shelton finish off their match. Really, they were only halfway through the first set. Restarting today after the rain yesterday, but there was a lot of great tennis. I watched the whole Djokovic Popyrin match, and I saw the end of Putintseva versus Swiatek. So I got a lot of thoughts here for you. So thanks for being here. I'm Stephen Bowden. If we've never met, welcome to The Slice. If you have not subscribed yet, you should try doing that because scientific studies show that if you do that, you become a better tennis player. And we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, so you can help us out there. Appreciate your support. The 3rd round is done, as we just said. And let's start with Djokovic. Djokovic looked great today, I thought, against Popyrin. In the first set, Popyrin came out popping a serve, playing big like he can, and Djokovic a little slow to get out of the chair. The older man takes a little bit of time to warm up. And then I believe after Popyrin won the first set with big play, Djokovic being a little flat, the rain came, so they had to close the roof. So that kind of paused things and allowed Djokovic to get into it, and Popyrin kind of sunk back a little. And then it was kind of Djokovic taking control from then. I felt really from the baseline, Djokovic was in complete control, and that shouldn't surprise anyone, obviously, with what he's done here at this tournament and just the level of player he is versus Popyrin. But that serve that Alexei has is big, and he was coming forward a ton. And in the 4th set, actually, he started to work a lot better, and his percentage of winning points at the net came a lot higher, and it got tricky. So that could have gone 5. Djokovic did well to close it out in 4 as Popyrin really started to find a groove again. But Djokovic gets through. And I really think he mentioned before that there's a couple little questions about the knee in the first round, but it's just he's a 37-year-old guy now playing tennis versus a bunch of younger guys who are like 10 plus years younger than him. So that's any physical issues, I think, comes from that more than the knee at this point. But on the bright side, Djokovic is just looking like Djokovic out there, I think. So he's got a great chance to go deep, make the final, win this tournament. The question mark of is he going to pull it from the knee, I don't really think is there anymore. And we're going to look at his draw going forward here, obviously. We'll look at the rest of the results from today. But the other interesting match I watched was Shelton taking out our guy, Denis Shapovalov, in 5 sets. Now, this was a battle. Only 3 hours of match time. These guys both play awesome grass court tennis. And yeah, Ben's serve is just absolutely crazy. You really can't overstate it. I mean, he's literally hitting it. I think he hit the fastest serve in Wimbledon history, like 150 something miles an hour, which is just crazy. He hit some big ones today against Shapovalov. But what really impressed me today was obviously his serve was good and he was really dominant on it, as we'll see in the stats, but his returning and his aggressiveness and his game overall won him that match. Shapovalov didn't really have his best stuff, but Shelton really laid it on in a few different ways. His backhand is not a weapon at all, I wouldn't say, but his forehand obviously is. And the way he was able to hit that running out to balls through the middle of the court, and the way he was able to just kind of come forward in really interesting times, finish off points, and be solid, super solid at the net, was super impressive. So he's super dangerous. And he's playing this guy, Jannik Sinner, next, and he's going to be an absolute nightmare for Sinner if that's not obvious. But it's going to be really interesting to see because Sinner's return has gotten so good. How will he be able to fare with Shelton playing kind of with nothing to lose, bombing it down? 4th round, Darren Cahill, Jannik Sinner's coach, talked about how Sinner's just got to focus on Sinner and focus on holding his service games, protecting those service games. And then when there's opportunities there in the Shelton games, go for it. Be brave, he said. And I like that because that's definitely true. You don't want to get into a place where you're just going to tiebreakers every set with Shelton, because tiebreakers, I don't care who you are, it's basically a coin flip, especially when the opponent's going to serve like Shelton. So yeah, that was really interesting as well. Tough match for Shapovalov. He had chances, but when the chances were there, he couldn't. It would be like 30. It would be like love 30 on a Shelton service game, and then Shelton would just get three points in a row in a serve, and then get out of those games. Whereas Shelton was having an easier time because Shapovalov doesn't have as big of a serve, getting more break points and doing more damage on the serve. So yeah, Iga Swiatek is out at the hands of Yulia Putintseva in a great match. And, Iga comes out, wins the first set, and then kind of gets like swept the next two sets. Too many errors, out of sorts. And, I mean, it's not really a shock. How can you say that at this point, Iga Swiatek losing early at Wimbledon is a shock? It's an upset, obviously. She's the number one player in the world for a good reason. Dangerous on all surfaces. But on the grass, she's only made it to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon one time. That was last year, and she lost in the quarterfinals. But other than that, she hasn't been deep in this tournament ever. So I said on Twitter earlier, she's a clay court specialist. She's not a clay court specialist because she's obviously won the U.S. Open. She's dangerous on hard courts, but everyone's good on hard courts. That's like a given. She's, arguably the greatest, like modern, in modern times on clay ever, and she's absolutely the number one there. But this grass is a different game for her. It's almost like Casper Ruud-esque. People are making memes of her not wanting to touch grass. Her game is just not that deadly there, and a lot of players feel like they can beat her, and Putintseva did. And I saw Vance from Twitter making an interesting point. All the players that Swiatek has lost to in the last few years at Wimbledon are not like Rybaikinas, where they're just huge hitters and blowing her off the court. It's like players who just have a good, solid baseline game, and that she's still losing to them. So that's really interesting, I think. What is your guys' thoughts about Swiatek losing? Is it overblown, or is she just, not going to be that grass player that we think about? And I think that's okay if she's not. Okay, let's look at results from today. On center court, we had a lot of matches today because of the rain yesterday. Zverev comes through Norrie in 3 sets, 3 pretty tight sets there. So he's into the 4th round. Svitolina takes out Jabeur, so that's another upset on the ladies' side. But again, Jabeur, I think that Wimbledon loss in the final is still haunting her in 2022. Popyrin losing to Djokovic. Djokovic coming through in 4 sets, only 3 hours, which is good for him. And yeah, so that was center court. Shapovalov loses to Shelton. We talked through that one. If you look at the stats here, some interesting stats from the match summary. Only 7 aces for Shelton. You would think there'd be a lot more than that, but he won 81% of his first serves. So Shapovalov is getting rackets on a lot of these balls, but not, obviously Ben's getting a ton of free points on his first serve there. And interesting point here is net points won. Ben came to net 78 times, almost twice as much as Shapovalov in that match. So it's a clear attacking game plan for Ben. Did a really good job of executing on that and playing well in general, I thought. Other results from today, Rybakina just destroys Wozniacki 6-0, 6-1. That's not super unexpected. But Swiatek, losing to Putintseva, that is big news. That is big, big news. So winners, 34 winners for Swiatek, a lot. 38 unforced errors, though. Putintseva only 15 unforced errors. So Putintseva is just the one not dictating, but she's the one who's playing solid. And you can honestly say Swiatek's kind of beating herself in a little bit of these ways. First serve points won higher for Putintseva. First serve in higher. Second serve points won higher. Net points won higher. Almost every category Putintseva led in. So yeah, very interesting result there for the number one player in the world on the women's side. Holger Rune is through over Quentin Halys, has to come back from 2 sets to love down. He does it, 6-1 in the 3rd. So he'll play Djokovic next. We're going to preview that. Struff versus Medvedev. Medvedev comes through. That's a super dangerous opponent for him. Fritz comes through Tabilo. Demonauer walks over Puy, and Mpeshi Pericard. Watch out he is through. Let's look at his stats because he had some ridiculous stats that we've talked about in the last match. Aces, 27 aces for Mpeshi Pericard. Like, he is a serve bot. He is a machine. And he's hitting 69% first serves in. That's crazy. He's winning 84% on his first serve. That's crazy. So 53 winners to 34 unforced errors. You do not want to play this man. His opponent, Emil Rusevori, had a positive winners to unforced errors ratio and still gets beaten in 4 sets. Pretty dangerous guy to play, I would say, Mpeshi Pericard. Okay, preview. Let's go to the draw for the gentlemen's singles 4th round. On the top half, we've got Sinner versus Ben Shelton. Big time match. Danger match for Sinner. His nightmare draw continues, I would say. There isn't really much more danger, lower ranked players in the 4th round than Shelton. You'd have to tell me who they are. Sinner's going to have to be on his game, like we talked about. Darren Cahill, as coach said. I think Sinner does find a way to handle the serve. I think maybe the moment gets to Ben a little bit, and I see Sinner getting through this one in 3 or 4 sets. We'll see. We'll just see. I don't see people. I mean, we've never seen this, but Shelton didn't hit through Shapovalov, for example, and I can't really see him doing that through Sinner. He's way more solid on the backhand, can hurt you more from the backhand, can hurt you arguably more from the forehand as well, and with the serve. So we will see how that goes. I'm obviously taking Sinner in that matchup. Grigor Dimitrov, Daniil Medvedev, that is interesting as well, because Dimitrov, much more comfortable, I would say, on the grass, much more creative in a way, but not much more creative. Medvedev's also super creative, but he's got more craft to his game, I would say, and better movement on the grass. So that's going to be an interesting one. I got that one basically as a top up now. That's pretty crazy. Sinner could play Medvedev in the quarterfinals. I didn't even really realize that maybe as much at the beginning of this draw. So that is pretty nuts. So then we're into the Alcaraz quarter. He'll play Hugo Humbert, who's played well on the grass before, who has a big lefty game. And Alcaraz is going to want to be more consistent than he was against Tiafoe. Like he said, he was up and down. He wakes up for the 5th set. He watches Spain win in the Euros, and then he comes back and wins the 5th set. He's probably not going to want to go to a 5th set if he doesn't have to. But again, I guess if he does, there's no one on tour more confident going into a 5th set than Alcaraz. So that's pretty interesting. Tommy Paul against Roberto Bautista Agut. Tommy Paul has a crazy record against Spanish players. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it was like he was on a roll there for a while. 2022 fall, where he beat like a zillion Spanish players in a row. He beat Bautista Agut in Paris. I was there for that match. And I think that the game that Bautista Agut kind of allows Tommy Paul to play well, play free, be the player on the forehand with the more spin. But we'll see, because Bautista Agut obviously is a pro. He's older. He knows the game so well, and he knows how to use the angles as good as anyone. And that's going to be interesting. But I do see Paul getting through that match for sure. Okay, Musetti versus, on the bottom half, Musetti versus Mpeshi Pericard. I have no clue. Musetti played great. He made the final of Queens, but Mpeshi Pericard, it's just like one of those Wimbledon stories where the lucky loser, I saw this on Twitter. What's more surprising, that he made the 4th round or that he was a lucky loser? Like, you've watched him play and you're like, how does anyone beat this guy? I don't know how Musetti's going to do when he serves a zillion aces every round. But it's going to be interesting to see. He's got the nothing to lose mentality. He's from France. That has nothing to do with anything, but he's another player with 2 last names. That's French. That's represented by Bernard from BD Global Management. That's interesting. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's interesting to see. I will try and watch that as much of that one as I can because you want to see the stallion, the French stallion, serve and play. So, I don't know. I'm just going to take Mpeshi Pericard because he has less to lose in that match and more weapons than Musetti. Taylor Fritz versus Zverev. That is a big hitting matchup on grass, isn't it? Taylor Fritz has done well to get here. He's had his gangster moment against Rinderknech, and this one to me is a toss-up. They both can serve big. They both can play huge off the ground. They both can get tight. So that's a toss-up for me. I have no clue. Let me know what you think. Demon Hour got the walkover in the last round, so I'm taking Demon Hour over Artur Fils. I don't think Fils has enough firepower to get through de Minaur, and de Minaur is nice on the grass. And lastly, Holger Rune versus Novak Djokovic. That is a great matchup. Holger Rune has kind of plateaued a little bit and kind of been silent for the last year or so. So they have history together. They've played great matches together. Rune's beat him and to win the Paris Masters on a quick indoor court. That's pretty interesting. So we'll see what Rune can do. He definitely has the opportunity or the chance to beat him. He'll have seen Sinner beat Djokovic at a major and his other age compatriot Alcaraz beat Djokovic at a major. He's got to be thinking, I can do that. It's my time to beat him at a major. So we will see if he can do that. Djokovic, like I said, looking good, looking better in general. I think he's just going to play his mature grass court tennis. And if he comes out really flat or doesn't play a great match, Rune can really run with things. But I think if he locks in and plays a really calculated, close to the baseline match where he's using the angles like only he knows how to do in this draw, he's got the clear advantage over Rune. But Rune can play like top 5, top 3 level. So that's going to be interesting. That is going to be super interesting. So anyways, that's a preview of the gentlemen's singles draw round 4. Let's look in at the ladies at the top. That's right. You got Putintseva versus Ostapenko. No, one of these girls is going to be in the semifinals. One of these 4. So that is, Krejcikova, she's won a major before. So is Ostapenko. So, Collins is amazing. So there's a lot of good players there. That's just an interesting top quarter of this draw that's left. Krejcikova versus Collins. Toss up. Collins on the farewell tour. Can she blast through? We'll see. Rybakina versus Kalinskaya. We got Rybakina, former Wimbledon champion, playing Sinner's girlfriend. Sinner might be in the box for that match, giving Kalinskaya extra power. That'll be interesting. You got to lean Rybakina, though, because she's a 4 seed and she's won this tournament before. Svitolina versus Wang. I have no clue. Svitolina seems to have the momentum with her and seems to just be in a great space right now. So I'm taking her for the win. Raducanu. She has said she feels tightness in her wrist is why she couldn't play the mixed doubles with Andy Murray. When that came out, I was like, that sucks. That's a lame decision. Just don't practice and play. But then the more I thought about it, why do we even want to watch? I think someone pointed it out again on Twitter. Do you just want to see another farewell ceremony for Murray? It's already sad enough watching one. The state he's in, you don't want to really be seeing him play. So I think Raducanu, that means she's locked in. I think she's going to beat Sun. She's going to play great. She's going to get to the quarterfinals. Britain's going to continue to go nuts. Judy Murray, by the way, had to lock her Twitter account after saying, commenting on one of the journalists' posts about Raducanu pulling out. So, that's Judy Murray just inserting herself in the mix again with an out-of-pocket tweet trashing Raducanu. But let me know your thoughts on Raducanu down below, because that's what the comment section is for. We got Badosa, Vekic, a lot of household names in this 4th round. That's going to be a great match. I don't know who's going to win. Paolini versus Madison Keys. I'm taking Paolini. And an interesting thought I was having last night while I was sleeping. I remember Paolini playing in the Billie Jean King Cup against Canada in 2022. And I was not impressed. I was like, she's an okay player. Isn't huge, doesn't have huge weapons. And then she really impressed me versus Bianca Andreescu. Now, I believe either Bianca or Layla beat her at the Billie Jean King Cup. So she's a great player. I think she's going to get through Madison Keys unless Madison Keys just serves the lights out. So that will be interesting. And then you got Coco Gauff slowly creeping up. She'll play Navarro tomorrow, and you got to take Coco Gauff in that. But the pressure will be getting to her now, seeing that there's no Sabalenka, there's no Swiatek, and the gates are wide open for her if she can get through Navarro on this bottom half of the draw. So she's the highest seed left. You got to think she would feel like she's the favorite to make the final, and then you never know. So anyways, that is a full preview of the draw remaining in the 4th round. It's going to be great. This is really where the tournament gets really impactful. Every match is big. Every match is between guys who are playing well or girls who are playing well and can do something here. So there's lots on the line, and it's going to be great. Djokovic, is he going to do it? The 3 big challengers on the men's side, Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz. Who's going to make the final between Sinner and Alcaraz. Can Djokovic hold on and beat all the other guys that he needs to get there? We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, that is the slice. That's what you need to know. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time here on the show.